Okay, so as you, I'm sure, know, unless you just hit the subscribe button the last few days, you may not know. I did a video, again, on California being just like Greece is, or just like the United States is to the world. When you compare the United States, the debt we have, matter of fact, let me just recap on that. I said, look at the United States and then look at the rest of the world. Which country does everybody wish they could live in and have the lifestyle like, etc., etc.? The United States, of course. We have the greatest technology. Every house in America practically has air conditioning, electricity, and internet capability. I mean, for the most part, you know, we're that deal. We are that guy that everyone wants to be. But at the same time, how is that possible while simultaneously having the largest debt the entire world's ever seen? And if you take the entire world's debt minus America and then compare all of that to America, they're not even close to being in debt, combining the world's debt for to America's. That alone should be absolutely terrifying, frightening, beyond all belief. But everyone grows up here. We learn the same stuff everyone else learned before us. This is it. This is America. It's American lifestyle. That's that word we keep hearing, the American lifestyle, the American dream. You can only do it in America, blah, blah, blah. And to find out, which you're going to find out here soon, it was only temporary. Never really had it. You only thought you did. Just temporary. Well, my grandpa, my dad, they grew up and they were fine. Yeah, again, temporary. They were in it for a split second when the getting was good, so to speak. And I said also, combining America to the world, we are the largest debtor nation on the face of the earth, as I just explained, yet we got the greatest lifestyle, biggest economy, you know, big powerhouse, even though we don't supply anything. I don't know how that works, but nonetheless we are. So then we take a little mini snapshot of California versus the other states in America. And California is to the rest of the country what America is to the rest of the world, as I just explained. California, believe it or not, is the 8th largest economy. In America? No, in the world. California has had the 8th largest economy by itself compared to the world. Now hold on. You mean to tell me a state in a country, one single state in a country, has the 8th largest economy in the entire world? Yeah, that's exactly what I mean to tell you. Must be a phenomenal place. I mean, it has to be. Just like America is the largest economy in the world. Out of the 50 states in America, California is the largest, period. And then it's so large as far as economy goes, it's the 8th largest in the world. It's the largest in America. Naturally. So how could they be having all these problems and budget? I just got done saying in January or February they had to borrow $1 billion, $1 billion. Well, for the 8th largest country in the world, that's probably small, right? No, not really. And the video I did the other day on it was that, yeah, January, February, they had to get $1 billion loan, and now they're hitting up Wall Street, basically, for another $10 billion. And I just got a report in here that says how much tax revenues have nosedived in California, why they urgently need this $10 billion. And that's just to get them through the rest of the year, the budget. What about next year? Well, hopefully the economy will turn around better. Better? You mean it has been turning around, but just not that fast? Yeah. I don't think that's possible when you look at the numbers. California sales tax revenue. Matter of fact, where's that paper? Excuse me. Pardon me. We were paying at one time around close to $2,000 a year for property tax right here in Florida. Pretty typical. Not, you know, several years ago that was pretty, you know, typical all day long. People paid much higher than that in much nicer areas than you know, my house or where I live, etc. But that was pretty common. 1,800, 1,900, 2,000. And wouldn't you know, I just got this old girl right here in the letter. 2012 notice of proposed property taxes. Do not pay. This is not a bill. It's just a notification from Hillsborough County, Florida, the taxing authorities. Information. Let's see, what year was that? Or does it even say? We are looking at, again, I said we were paying around $2,000 several years ago. You know, during the bubble, the great American dream economy, everyone's a winner. That I like to call that economy the everyone's a winner economy. Don't have enough to pay for anything, doesn't matter, you're approved. Can't, even if we took all your money that you said you claimed on paper, didn't take any taxes out of it, pretended you don't have any other bills, not even food, gas, living, nothing, you still don't qualify for that house. You still would go bankrupt. Doesn't matter, you're approved. The old everybody wins economy. Well, during the everybody wins economy, we were at about $1,900 or so dollars property taxes right here. Old J Snip. Last year, 2011, $829. This year, proposed taxes, $642. $642. Now my house, let me just double check this here. There was somewhere on here. Basically saying the market value. I don't know if this is if I'm looking at this right, or there's some fees that are not quite counting. But it's saying now during the high of the market, if I would have got out perfectly, you know, if I could have timed that perfectly and got out of the house, I think our houses in this area were going for around 205, 215, 210 ish. We happen to have a large detached garage. It's about the size of a 3-car garage. It's got a 2-car door on it, but it's about the size of a 3-car garage. I'm on a corner lot. I've got more property than most. Not that I got a lot. I got a quarter of an acre, for God's sakes. But I'm on a corner lot, bigger property than most other ones in the neighborhood. Therefore, I should have been at the top. Looking at the comps in the area, we should have been at probably the top of that range. But let's just say a little over $200,000 for this house that needed work when we got it, and we paid around $115 or $117 minus the stuff, needs a roof, needs new carpet, all that, knock them down a little bit, etc. I think we got down to 109 or 109, you remember? And then the little fee took it up to 111, whatever. Again, that was in, man, it had to be 2003, right? So, you know, it was about 9 years ago. And that was when property prices were just starting to creep up, just a little bit. So we got in, next thing you know, a couple, 2-3 years later, oh my God, our house is worth over $200,000. What do we do? Should we sell? Should we stay? We didn't really have a reason to sell at the time. We thought to ourselves, if we sell right now and go to buy something else, that's even more money. Sure, we'll take some profit and be able to put that as a down payment, but man, you know, we just decided we weren't planning on selling. We didn't need to. We didn't want to. Next thing you know, well, let's take a little home equity line out. We took a small home equity line out compared to what, again, the house was worth.
For the van, $26,000.
That's tiny. We owed a little over $100,000, and the house was worth $205,000 or $10,000. We took out like $30,000 home equity line. Basically, is what it ended up being. So, you know, maybe you don't think that's tiny, but compared to what $70,000 of equity left out of 30. So we took that out and paid off the van that we had. Had a little bit of spending money too, of course, you know, after that, but the bulk of it went to pay off our fairly new van. It was a 2006 Uplander van. Of course, it had little, you know, automatic doors, all the BS. Again, back then, man, you're talking, I was a sheep too. I was a sheep. I went down to the car dealer. They raped me. I didn't get a brand new one, but they still raped me. You walk away and it's already lost $4,000. You know, I got screwed. You know, that'll never happen again. Again, I'm a sheep back then. Now I'm awake. So this paperwork is saying, if I'm reading this right, that last year my house, and again, they do comps in the whole area, $81,000. If I'm reading this right, maybe I'm not, It says right there, property appraiser value information, 2011, 81,000. 2012, 67,000. Again, assessed value, market value, assessed value, taxable value, and because I have a first and additional homestead, that taxable value comes down. So this is the number, and it's saying last year, allegedly, this house was worth $81,000, and this year it's worth $67,000. Are you kidding me? And you think people are just going to continue and continue? I know I didn't have to buy a house in 2005 and 2006, but I did, and happened to buy a $200-something house that's now worth 80 or 90. But I didn't have to do that. That's my fault. I mean, I chose to get a house. Well, yeah, bozo, you got to live somewhere. I mean, you have to live somewhere, and nobody really knew that this would happen. As far as all of us people, we listen to the experts, we listen to the banks, we listen to the appraisers, we listen to everybody. That's what it's worth. You can move in. Everyone's approved. It's the way it is. So either you say no, I'm not going to do what everyone else in the whole freaking world's doing right now, and I'll go sleep under a bridge, or I got married, I got kids, right? Life goes on. Got to get a house. It's 2005, 2006. Got to get a house. The prices are skyrocketing. I better get in now before they go crazier. So everyone, of course, gets their house. And then you get screwed. Now it's worth 80 or 90. Still making that $200,000 a year payment, though. How long do you think that's going to last? Can you imagine? Just bear with me. Can you imagine if housing goes down to $30,000? This example I gave you. It was just 81 last year. They're telling me it's 67 now? That's a big jump. And let's say 3 years now, it's $30,000 for this stinking house. You don't think for 1 second people are going to walk from their nightmare upside down houses and then go find a bankruptcy house, whatever, Rio house, bank owned, and then say, here's cash. Here's cash, now I own the house. My other house, banks, take it, sell it, do what you want to do with it. You don't think that's going to happen? You think these people, I got too much pride, and I'm a prestigious person myself. You might be, and you might be a role model citizen. I once was a role model citizen too. Until these banks screwed me. And you and everybody. I didn't cause my property taxes to go down like this for the county and make the county suffer. And have to fire people, police, firemen, watch your gas expenses, everybody. I didn't ask for that kind of tax. We were paying $1,900, man. That's what it is. That was a little steep because when we first moved in, I think it was a little over maybe $1,100 or $1,200, and then it's back to $1,900 all of a sudden. Hey, what the hell happened here? Well, property prices are going up. That's what it's assessed at. Oh, okay. So California sales tax revenue down 33.5%. It is down 1/3 of expected revenues. I used to always talk about that in some of my older videos. Back then, my favorite word from the headlines of the news: unexpected. Unemployment unexpectedly rose. Job loss unexpectedly rose today. Your home unexpectedly went down. Home sales unexpectedly. What do you mean unexpectedly? A bozo monkey that's retarded could figure this out. Unexpectedly. He'll do sign language. Unexpectedly. Monkeys can do a little sign language. Unexpectedly, I'm hungry right now. Oh, you haven't eaten in 3 days. Oh, that's pretty unexpected, isn't it? You're probably starving to death. Give the monkey some food. 33%. Are you kidding me? The state has avoided default by temporarily borrowing from state trust funds. I love when they pull. We're going to borrow from the pension. We're going to borrow from the Social Security. We're going to borrow from retirees. We're going to borrow. Timothy Geithner did it not that long ago. We're borrowing, but it'll get put back when they pass the budget and this and that. Don't worry. Right. And they got 170,000 rounds of ammunition for the Social Security Administration. For what reason? You don't think there's going to be lines of mobs of people demanding that all the money they put in, they better get back since they just got cut off and wanting to kill somebody? You probably don't think that's what that's for, do you? Nah. Nah, not here. That's America. I thought it was America. So they are borrowing from the state trust funds, but those accounts will soon need their cash back to continue operating. So it better be temporary, is what they're saying. Today, California quickly began trying to sell $10 billion, as I discussed in my other video, $10 billion in municipal bonds to fund the record $28 billion they need to keep the lights on with. And again, because I like giving the examples of the countries versus the world and states versus all that stuff. So if our $16 trillion debt, which is the one that's on the books, we don't count Medicaid, Social Security, we don't count what you're supposed to count, which is upward of 200 now it's 211 trillion of real liabilities. We're told the only liabilities we need to be concerned about is the $16 trillion debt, which again, even the $16 trillion debt is larger than the entire world combined compared to us. So we have these things, we need money, we need to fund government, we got to fund government, we're having budget problems. Federal Reserve, we need some money. Okay, you need to print some bonds. We will sell those bonds at interest, and then we'll give you the money once we sell those bonds. And then they sell the bonds, here's your money, but now you got to make a payment back, like a credit card, with interest. So if California is struggling to pay its bills, when you're struggling to pay your bills, do you go out with the mindset, I'll use a credit card, or 2, or 3, or 10, to get me through just a few months, and I bet things will get so much better. I'm going to get the most phenomenal pay raise known to mankind so that I can catch up on all my bills and then pay back those 10 credit cards I needed to get me out of the hot water that it was only a few months worth of bills piling up, basically, that I can't pay. So you've had so much money that you need to come up with to pay bills in just this much of a year's time, a few months left. To get through that, you need tons and tons of money. And what's your paycheck look like? In other words, what's your tax revenue look like, California? Oh, it's down a third, 33.5%? Yeah, let's go out and borrow some money in bonds, and then we'll pay interest on those bonds. In other words, we won't be able to make those payments, barely, because next year we'll be needing to borrow more money on top of paying back the bonds we have out there. If there's any good news, states, municipalities, etc. will just default on the bonds and say, sorry to you bankers, to the bankers. However, the bankers, they've tried to get very clever, and we need to put things in here, such as an asset. If you don't pay, we want that asset over there, that Parkway, the electric company, privatization. They can be very sneaky about that. We're going to take over the trash company if you default, and then they default. Okay, now the trash company is owned by the bank. And by the way, everybody in the entire county, state, whatever, California, you're paying this trash company. You're used to seeing these fees. Now it's owned by the bank. And the bank decides, we got to raise rates. This isn't good enough. We got to raise rates. We got shareholders we got to take care of. I know, don't give me that crap. You can't feed your kids. You lost your job. We've got shareholders that are more important. Shareholders come first. Hopefully, the state of California and the municipalities that do the same crap aren't stupid, which, usually they make the wrong decisions, but I'll have hope and faith here for about a split second that they won't make any dumb decisions like that, and will leave it so that if they have to default later, they can just default. All you banks that had these bonds, go pound sand. That's hopefully how that ends. So California is in deep, deep, deep trouble. I've spoken about this before. Other people have spoken about this before. This is nothing new. You shouldn't be shocked. It's going to get bad in California because as this happens, law enforcement, firefighters, bye-bye, pink slip. See you later. You call 911, you're waiting days for them to show up. The robbers, the bad guys start to realize, man, we robbed them and did this and did that, and I never even heard sirens over here. Are you kidding me? Man, nah, maybe they were just busy today, and then they robbed somebody else. No one's even coming. Now, being a dumb, robber, that most criminals are stupid. Why are we going to run next time? Let's beat them, steal from them, and then stand there and laugh at them and lay down and wait for the cops to come because we know they ain't going to come. Just to mock everything. That's the kind of crap that'll happen. Guaranteed. So I just want to share that with you. I've got one more quick video and I'm done.